Hello everyone. This is not one of my usual videos today. For this particular video, I have teamed up with more than 20 channels, 20 other creators, to help you discover more ASMR channels with informative, educational, or cultural content. There are very different styles and types of voices and personalities and topics too. So obviously you're not going to like everything, and that's totally fine. But I trust you to focus on what you like in the comments. We all belong to like a subgenre of ASMR videos on YouTube, and probably not the most visible one. So this video is here to help you find new channels and help these channels find a broader audience, hopefully. You're going to be able to watch more than 20 different clips from them. And if you like what you see and hear, you can easily visit them. The names are on screen, in the description, and in the first comment pinned under this video. So I won't keep you waiting for longer. I hope you enjoy this selection and that some of your future favorite channels are among them. And I'll speak to you soon for another of my regular videos.
Hello there, cutie patootie, math angel. This is Decaf-Math, ASMR. Thank you to the French Whisperer for inviting me to be a part of this collab. I'm very grateful to be here, and I thought that I would just take this time to just introduce my channel a little bit and maybe give you a little feel for what you could expect should you choose to come check it out, which I hope that you will. So all of my videos are math videos in some way, and I hope that doesn't scare you away, but some are more intentionally sleepy with ASMR triggers and only a little bit of math, while others are more focused on the tutorial and the practice with me and only with a little bit of intentionally unintentional ASMR, if that makes sense. Intentionally unintentional. And for me, that's just very casual and relaxed and kind of meditative almost. Just not really planned out ahead of time, but kind of planned, but not really, you know. So my overall goal is to hopefully be helpful and encouraging for somebody who might be learning math at this time. But even if you're not learning math, I hope that it's a nice, soothing, relaxing space to just zone in and out as you please. So I would say mathematically it is still relatively academic in that we are focusing on specific topics, and we have videos from basic countdowns and times tables all the way through differential equations and beyond, and we're just jumping around, filling in different playlists. I guess I do have a few positive affirmations videos as well to hopefully encourage people in their math studies. But as far as the ASMR goes, I know that not everybody experiences actual tingles, or the actual ASMR response, but I hope that it still makes for a nice, comforting and soothing and welcoming and warm space to just zone in and out. And if you do happen to experience tingles, I hope that you're able to catch a tingle or two from my videos. And I do draw my inspiration from my own personal experience, and I'm just having fun experimenting with all of it. So I hope that you'll come check it out. Either way, I'm sending you much love and peace. Bye. Take good care. Bye.
This bridge was built in 1903. It's a single span, 252 feet long. But the thing about this bridge is that it wasn't built here. It was originally built over 90 miles away from here in a rural setting on a small road crossing a stream. And it stood there for over a century until 2008, when it was disassembled, reconditioned, and moved here, where it was rebuilt and became part of this city's walking trail system, recreational trail system. This town could have put any modern wooden walking bridge here at this site. And I'm sure it would have been very easy for the planners in the county where this bridge was deemed no longer needed to just scrap it. But they communicated, and this move made sense, and now here it stands.
Hello everybody, this is Kate at the Library of Whispers. Now, today I'm going to show you some cards, history cards, and they represent all the British kings and queens. As you can see, so on the front of each card is an illustration, and on the back we have some really interesting information about the particular king or queen. So in a moment I'm going to bring the camera down and we're going to have a look at some of these kings and queens together. See you in a minute. So let's take the first card from the top of the pile, and we see this is Alfred from the House of Wessex, and his image is emblazoned in a stained glass panel. So Alfred's dates are 871 to 899. We discover that he was born in Wantage, Oxfordshire, in 849, the youngest son of King Ethelwulf of Wessex, and he married Ailswith of Mercia. He's known as Alfred the Great. had spent the early part of his reign fighting off Viking invaders from Scandinavia. This has been Kate. Bye bye for now.
And let's flip to another page and see where it leads. I have brought this magnifying glass so I can take a closer look as well. Maybe I can try to do that now because the type, the face, the font size here is very tiny. So let's see. White horse. And yeah, it's a bit confusing, I think, because I have to hold the magnifying glass between my eyes and the map, and then it looks like this. And for you, I would like to hold it like this, but yeah. Then I can't really use it myself, so I'll skip it for now. I think that Watson Lake is not on this map, but I guess it's here somewhere. And we follow this road here. I guess it's still called the Alaska Highway. And we follow it to Dawson Creek in British Columbia, just at the border to Alberta. And here I think that it will change name again from BC 97 to BC 2. Just a very short part here to the border to Alberta. And in Alberta it's called the Alberta Road 43. To Edmonton, the capital of Alberta.
Molweni, sanibonani, dumela, 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 abusheni, hello to you, and you, and you, and you, and welcome or welcome back to African XHOSA ASMR. In today's video, I will be doing fast and aggressive XHOSA tongue twisters. And if you don't know, XHOSA is one of the 11 official languages of South Africa. So, without further ado, let's get started.
explain it. Qaqamba. Uqale nini? Kukuqaqanjelwa liqakuva emqolo. Gqirha, ndiqale ngomgqibelo. Kukuqaqanjelwa liqakuva emqolo. Ndaqonda uba mandiqale kuwe kuqala, gqirha, which translates to Qaqamba, which is the name of a person. When did you start having a painful pimple on your back? Qaqamba replies by saying, Doctor, I started having a painful pimple on my back on Saturday, and then I decided to come to you so that you can check it out. And that is it for today's video. Bye bye. Usale kakuhle. Ndikubona kwixesha elizayo.
Hello everyone. I had a request in a video comment this week, maybe yesterday, asking for me to do a map video of a German city. So, yeah, let's do that today. We're going to take a look at my favourite German city, which is Cologne. Hope you enjoy the video, everyone. Hello, this is Welsh ASMR 82. How are you doing? Someone asked me to do another map video on a German city, and I thought, yeah, okay, simple as that, because I love Cologne, and I wanted to have a little look at it. Shouldn't be a long video, I don't think. Okay, so Cologne's in Germany. This is Germany. Cologne is here. For reference, Dortmund is here. Essen, Frankfurt, Munich, Leipzig, Berlin, Hamburg, and Belgium, and the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Bonn, Koblenz, Cochem. Okay, so I've been to Cologne 4 or 5 times, I think. It's a really lovely city. I thought I said nipples then. Nippes, Mülheim, Delbrück, Ehrenfeld, Ossendorf, Niel, Rodenkirchen, Ports. So the Rhine runs through it. It's a very, very pretty city. I really like. I think it's right here actually. Is there the museum? Yes, Schokoladenmuseum. This is a chocolate museum. I took a school trip there. I mean, to Germany, not to the museum, but we definitely spent a long time in the chocolate museum.
So we'll start with the same map that we did last month on Delaware. And that is because we're looking at this similar area. Obviously, we've got, Delaware down here, and then New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And the Lenape were the major groups in these areas. And so it's just important to remember that these are the people who inhabited these areas for a very long time. It's
actually thought that perhaps about 5,000 years ago there were a different group of Native American peoples there, but for another time. So the Lenape are who the early Pennsylvanians would have been dealing with. Over in the western side of the state, gets a little bit more into the Iroquois Nation, and we do have a map that addresses some of the different groups there, and that actually is a European map from the time. So really nice that we do actually have a few maps that pay homage to those native peoples from that time. So our next map is one that you'll also recognize. This is our Cartas over ASMRctica, and this has to do with New Sweden, and then we'll have a New Netherlands map as well. This is obviously the one that was not current for the time. This one was made in 1900s, early 1900s. So if you see Christina, Wilmington here, then north of here is Pennsylvania. So we still have these similar spots which go into Pennsylvania. And so you do see a similar history between Delaware and Pennsylvania there, because it follows that similar Dutch, Swedish, Dutch sort of pattern.
Welcome to Tingledom.
Hello, and welcome to ASMR. Chess. In 1858, there sailed a young man, aged only 20 years, from the United States to Europe. His name was Paul Morphy, and in the period of just 2 years, he would make his name absolutely immortal in the chess world. He defeated every single chess master Europe had to offer, except Howard Staunton, who is nowadays primarily known for this beautiful traditional chess set design. It is called the Staunton design, but he dared not play young Paul Morphy. I will share with you today a chess puzzle created by Paul Morphy, the only one we know he ever created. The point of this is to show that it is sometimes not beneficial to be on the move in chess. So what's going on here? White has a king, a pawn and a rook. Black has 2 pawns, a bishop and a king. And white is on the move. How can we win this position as white? Well, we can actually win with a forced checkmate in 2 moves. So how do we do that? It doesn't work to capture the pawn with the rook, because we can just recapture with the bishop. Doesn't work. Doesn't work to capture with the pawn, because we just move the bishop out of the way. So what can we do? Well, we can play rook down to here, and now black has to move, but black doesn't have a good move. If we capture here, white simply plays pawn on, checking the king. King has no escape, and it's checkmate. And the only other legal move is to move the bishop. But if the bishop moves anywhere it moves, there is no longer a defense of this pawn. We capture with checkmate.
This principle in chess is known as Zugzwang. It's German and it means to be forced to move. Thanks to the French Whisperer for inviting me to this awesome collaboration. See you in the next video. Bye.
Hey there, how's it going? My name is Nathan ASMR, and it's a pleasure to meet you. So, first of all, I just want to say it's a huge honor to be included in this list, in this collaboration, because there's so many talented ASMR artists on this list. In fact, all of them, but several of them have really been a big influence on me starting a channel, and so thank you for that. That said, I think everyone here is really interested in not only making relaxing ASMR, but in sharing that knowledge with the world, and with just really science, history, math, just so many amazing subjects. And I think that ASMR is a fantastic vehicle to educate and share and to learn. I remember my first ASMR experiences were in the library doing research and as a younger kid, and talking about history with my father when I was a young gent. But I think that those experiences can lead to really a positive influence, and I do believe that there's a need for that in the community. So I actually host one of the co-hosts of a convention called Tingledom. It's a ASMR convention, and we talk about ASMR, and so I'm a huge advocate for the community in general. And again, I hope you take a few moments to go to everyone's channel here and to research and subscribe. My channel really focuses on history, maps, role plays, really anything I see fit. Maybe some travel stuff, and lastly, a bit of gaming as well. So for the most part, my role plays are almost exclusively historical based. So if you love history and you love a beautiful setting, then probably some maps, maybe some science. I try to kind of dabble in everything. So that's sort of my specialty with regards to ASMR. So that all said, I hope you take a few moments to come check out my channel as well as everybody else's. And I just want to say thank you so much again for including me on this list. The French Whisperer is one of the great educational ASMR artists, so I have to throw in a little brown nosing in the video, just, because. Alright, so that all said, hope to see you come by my channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the ASMR artists here. Take care.
Hi everyone, how are you today? My name is Marian H, and I make relaxing videos about books. Classic literature is a big part of my life, and I love talking about the stories, history, and authors' lives with my audience. My goal is to make literature accessible and fun. I also share poetry readings, history and nonfiction reviews, and the occasional contemporary novel. Please enjoy this short clip from one of my videos. I think most people are familiar with Jane Eyre. If not, it is a novel by English author Charlotte Bronte. And it's about a young woman who becomes a governess at this house called Thornfield, and she falls in love with the mysterious owner of Thornfield named Mr. Rochester, but it turns out he has a very dark secret, and things start to deteriorate in their relationship, as you can imagine. Another one, of course, is Wuthering Heights by Charlotte Bronte's sister Emily. Also similar in setting and themes, although a little more dramatic than Jane Eyre. The Phantom of the Opera, so I just did a video on the musical, but there is also a novel by Gaston Leroux. And it's actually based on a real opera house and real ghost stories. So it's kind of an interesting historical aside. But The Phantom of the Opera is about a ghostly character who haunts this opera house in Paris and terrorizes the patrons and the managers and a young chorus girl who wants to learn how to sing. And the opera ghost becomes obsessed with her and takes advantage of her naivety. Another lesser known Gothic Victorian novel would be The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. Similar themes to Jane Eyre. I mean, there's the theme of insanity and the poor treatment of people with insanity back in the Victorian days. But there's also a really great, strong heroine in the character of Marian Halcombe in this book, and it's kind of unusual for a Victorian novel, so I just want to give a shout out to that one. Another famous one, of course, is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Hi, I'm Nick, the ASMR nerd, and I've been making ASMR gaming and tech videos since 2013. My videos are designed to be both relaxing and informative. Let me show you what I mean. One of my very favorite things to feature on my channel is mechanical keyboards, like this one right here. Now, maybe you've heard of mechanical keyboards before, but maybe you're not sure what all the fuss is about. Well, one of the coolest things about mechanical keyboards is how customizable they are. You can customize the case, you can customize the keycaps to look and feel just the way you want, and of course, you can customize the switches, the mechanical switches under each key. And the cool thing about that is that you can totally change the typing sound and feel of your board to be just the way you want. I have here a couple of examples of said switches. I've got a Cherry MX Red and a Cherry MX Blue. These are very common switch types. The red is very quiet, totally linear, very smooth, very quick, very light. Whereas the blue is clicky, has a snap to it. It's definitely a bit louder, and many typists favor the clicky snap of a blue type switch. But maybe you're not into mechanical keyboards. That's okay. Maybe you're more interested in different kinds of microphones, the way they sound in different kinds of ASMR sound tests. Maybe you're more interested in, I don't know, automatic watches like this one right here, the way they look and sound and operate. Or maybe you're into relaxing gaming. Maybe you like getting lost in gorgeous game worlds like Skyrim, like The Witcher. Maybe you like diving deep into the lore and the stories of these worlds, or poring over maps of these amazing virtual places. You can find all of this and more on my YouTube channel, The ASMRnerd, all one word. Or you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/theASMRnerd as well. I look very, very forward to meeting you, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this video with relaxing clips from all kinds of awesome ASMR creators, and of course our gracious host, the French Whisperer. Happy tingles, my friends.
Okay, hello dear friends, good evening, such a beautiful, beautiful evening. Bonsoir mes amis, c'est superbe, c'est tranquille, c'est magnifique le soir. And, 所以今天晚上特别舒服，我好长时间也没有做这些无聊的事了，所以今天什么也不想做，就想休息一下。做这种没有什么特别意义的事儿。你看，我们以前经常做这种，就是平常闲着没事儿，雨天打孩子的事儿，看看什么化妆品啊，买个什么新的小东西啊。我昨天去商店买了这一个，我去商店就这样的。一个一个走，一个一个找，1个小时啊，把那个口红从头到尾，从尾到头，从南到左，从左到南，从上到下，从下到上，哎，溜溜转一个溜够，最后买了一最便宜的。你瞧我这穷命儿。Okay, so it's been a long time I didn't buy any of this tedious stuff, and yesterday I went to store and found this. I searched in and out, up and down, everywhere, and I found there are some quite pretty packaging, and at the end I end up with the least expensive one. Okay, so beauty mirror. Il y a un miroir. Miroir. Dis-moi, qui est la plus belle du monde? So, donc celui-là, il y a très longtemps qu'on n'a pas fait de vidéo comme ça. Et hier, j'étais en supermarché, pas supermarché, dans le magasin, et je cherchais partout. Et finalement, je trouve ça, je pense que ça c'est pas mal. Et plutôt, c'est pas cher. Donc, c'est le moins cher, c'est le plus bon marché, c'est le meilleur marché. Ouh, c'est client. Waouh.
In the 4th century BC, Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, was the first to identify sepsis as we know it today. He described it as the process of decay or decomposition of organic matter, and by which flesh rots and wounds fester. Sepsis is an acute, life-threatening condition characterized by multi-organ dysfunction or failure resulting from a dysregulated immune response to infection. In a sense, sepsis occurs when the body's immune response to infection causes damage to its own tissues and organs. Let's get a general clinical summary of sepsis. The initial infection that results in sepsis is often bacterial, of a respiratory, genitourinary, gastrointestinal, or dermatological origin. Pneumonia is the most common cause of sepsis, whereas fungal, viral, and parasitic infectious causes are much rarer.
civilization, epitomized to this day in the famous quote, Carthago delenda est. In his Natural History, our man Pliny writes, burning with a mortal hatred of Carthage and exclaiming at every sitting of the Senate that Carthage must be destroyed, Cato one day brought with him into the Senate house a ripe fig, the produce of that country. It was immediately after this occurrence that the Third Punic War commenced, in which Carthage was destroyed. The thing, however, that is the most astonishing of all, indeed I can conceive nothing more truly marvellous, is the fact that a city thus mighty, the rival of Rome for the sovereignty of the world during a period of 120 years, owed its fall at last to an illustration drawn from a single fig. Let's have a look at the Latin. Carthago delenda est. Carthago, Carthage, is a third declension feminine singular noun in the nominative case. Delenda is a gerundive, an adjective derived from a verb carrying a passive meaning, needing to be, must be. It's from deleo, delere, delevi, deletus, to destroy. Take the infinitive stem and add an end d for the gerund delend, and then we add our first and second declension adjective endings. Matching with Carthago, we use the feminine singular nominative case a. Carthago delenda est. Est. Carthage is needing to be destroyed. It has dared to raise its economy and culture above that of Rome, and therefore it is begging to be destroyed, deleted from the face of the earth, and it was razed to the ground by the Romans and the last of the Phoenician race, sold into slavery, the fall of a once great civilization, a significance needing to be remembered.
We're on an island with a cannonball, with only one coconut tree on it, palm tree. We have a pirate ship, 560 meters from a fort defending a harbor entrance. A defense cannon located at sea level fires a ball, so we have an initial speed. And we have a distance from the cannon to the ship. At what angle from the horizon must a ball be fired to hit the ship? So this is just a bunch of me scrambling fruitlessly to try to derive this equation on the fly that they used. That's what you get when you don't prepare. You just try to wing it. So if I had, in other words, not read this far into the chapter, I wouldn't have, and I only read the beginning of the chapter, I would have tried this method and tried to derive this equation. R equals V naught squared over G times the sine of 2 theta. And I definitely failed. All I would have had to have done is rearrange this, given the information here. The range is 560. The initial velocity is, where did I write that?
Good evening, and thank you for joining me for another Boring Books for Bedtime. I hope tonight's selection provides all the boredom your busy brain needs to quiet down and let you get some sleep. So find a comfortable spot, adjust your volume, take a nice deep breath in, let it out slowly, and off we go. Tonight we're returning to one of your all-time favorites, the Sears Roebuck & Co. Incorporated Consumer's Guide number 104 for $18.97. That's right, it's the Sears catalog. In this episode, let's take a browse through the musical goods department and see what's for sale. Violins. We can sell a violin for 44 cents, but we would not accept an order for the inferior instrument at that price. Those quoted below are up to the standard of quality demanded by critical buyers and are our own importations from the largest and most reputable European manufacturers. Our entire confidence in these superior instruments prompts us to make them the most liberal terms of sale. We will send any violin to any express office, COD subject to examination, asking only a deposit of $1 with the order as a guarantee of good faith. If the instrument is not found satisfactory, or not as represented, it can be returned to us and money refunded. We further agree that where full cash accompanies order, customer will have the privilege of returning the instrument to us if, after 5 days' trial, it proves unsatisfactory. We appreciate the desire to secure a violin that will give the most pleasing results, and take this method of enabling customers to test the instrument just as fully as though examined in a retail store. For instruments of fine model and finish, as well as for full, round, resonant, and beautiful tone, our violins will stand in competition with any others in the world. Item 725. Genuine Salzard model violin.
So, the first word is vapid. V-A-P-I-D. What a nice sound. So, the first word is vapid, and that's nothing to do with vaping. It is an adjective meaning offering nothing that is stimulated. Good way to start this video. Offering nothing that is stimulating or challenging. Picked a good word to start this video, and it also means bland. B-L-A-N-D. So that's word number one, vapid, and it means offering nothing that is stimulating or challenging, bland. So that's word number one. So let's just, okay. The next word is paroxysm. Paroxysm. So cards are all stuck together because they're brand new. So we have paroxysm. Okay, paroxysm. And that is a sudden attack. A sudden attack or outburst of a particular emotion or activity. Of a particular emotion or activity. So the example that Google gives is a paroxysm of weeping.
Hello everyone. Tonight I'm going to tell you a short version of a sleep story I recently told on my own channel. It concerns the life and death of Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots. She lived an absolutely fascinating life. She was strong and powerful and often got her way at a time when women had next to no rights. In fact, her entire time as leader of Scotland, there were so many plots to take power away from her. She actually survived a really long time. Not only did a lot of men dislike the idea of a woman ruling the country, she was also a Catholic at a time when Protestantism was overtaking Scotland. Protestantism had only been created that same century when her great uncle, King Henry VIII, wished to divorce his wife. The Pope would not allow this, so Henry split from Rome and installed himself as the new head of the Church of England. Now, by the time Mary is alive and ruling Scotland, England is ruled by Elizabeth I, a Protestant. However, many viewed Mary Stuart as the rightful queen. Mary Stuart did not have an easy life. At age 5, she was sent to France to save her from Protestants in Scotland, and she married the heir to the French throne. She became queen. However, this did not last long. Her husband, Francis, died after an ear infection, and she returned to Scotland. Mary herself was incredibly smart. She spoke 4 languages. She was skilled in many sports, including falconry and horseback riding. After another failed marriage later, she did produce an heir, James I. What we can say about Mary Stuart's legacy is that her son James became the first person to rule both Scotland and England, which paved the way for the modern United Kingdom as we have it today. Unfortunately for Mary, it was a sad end. She'd already had to flee Scotland and spent the remainder of her life in England. But after many plots to overthrow Elizabeth and install Mary as queen, Elizabeth had no option but to order her death. On February 8th, 1587, Mary Stuart lost her head. I hope you have enjoyed this mini story, and I hope to see you on my channel soon. Goodbye. Hello, welcome. My name is GreenStar ASMR. If you are into other cultures and foreign languages, I hope you'll check out my channel. In this video, I'm going to say thanks in several different
Indonesian terima kasih, Italian grazie, Japanese arigato, Latin gratias ago, Dutch dank je, Norwegian tak, Ukrainian spasibi, Polish dzięki, Portuguese obrigado or obrigada, Romanian mulțumiri, Russian spasiba, Spanish gracias, Tagalog salamat, Czech dik, Turkish teşekkürler, Urdu shukriya, Vietnamese come on, and Swedish tack. These were all different languages. Would love to see you on my channel. Bye bye.
Now, when it comes to COVID, there's different forms of transmission. The mask obviously decreases the transmission of droplets, right, between person to person. What is Coco looking at? My loss of smell lasted for like 10 days and it was complete anosmia. Anosmia is the medical word for loss of smell, or complete lack of smell. And it didn't really come back until like 10 days or maybe 12 days later. Now the thing is with COVID is that the loss of smell is correlated more strongly with the diagnosis of COVID, about 27 times more likely than, for example, fever or cough. So it was severe loss of smell and it lasted for a while. Basically, you can have two forms of testing. Common forms is the PCR test where they do a nasopharyngeal swab. So the nasopharynx is just when you go deep into your nose and it's the part of the nasal mucosa that meets the pharynx, your throat essentially. So they swab it and then they send it to PCR. PCR is basically a method that can detect some viral DNA via the lab. And then you have the other method in which you can do a blood test. The nasopharyngeal swab, there's like a 60% false negative, because you can think about it, if one part of your nasopharynx is infected and they swab on the other part, there is a chance of them missing or not swabbing enough or missing the area completely. What is the blood test? What do they look for? They look for antibodies. There are two specific types of antibodies that they look for, IgM and IgG. Now, IgM stands for immunoglobulin, either M or G. IgM basically indicates that you have an active infection, which means that your body is fighting the infection right now. You are infectious, right? So you need to quarantine. IgG means that you have formed antibodies and you can basically that you are immune. It's not just the coronavirus that goes in, it's not the only virus from that family. There are a plethora of them, okay? And they are known for their immunity wanes, essentially, that it's not lifelong. What else, right? I just wanted to tell you one last thing. The premise of herd immunity, because I've seen so many articles written about this, not medical articles, but sensationalist news articles, because especially politicians who are like, herd immunity. That's not how herd immunity works. Let me just define herd immunity for you. Herd immunity is basically the concept of when enough people become immune, we form a protective barrier for those who are susceptible to the illness. That's not how you achieve herd immunity. It's done through vaccination. Because when people become more infected, let's say I got infected, let's say I was asymptomatic, I would go around and I would spread it to potentially more people. Whereas if I were vaccinated, then that's it, I'm immune. And then when I meet another person who is not infected yet, they're good to go. There was a really nice, well-written article about this, and I will link it down below if you're interested in reading it. Stay at home and cuddle with your cat. Maybe not your cat, because your cat can get Rona too.
Hello there. Today, I'd like to take you on an audio adventure into a magnificent costume ball that was held in St. Petersburg in the winter of 1903. It was hosted by the Russian Tsar, Nicholas II, and his wife, Alexandra, and it would turn out to be the very last grand ball that the couple would ever host before the storm clouds of the Russian Revolution gathered. So, in this talk, we're going to explore this sumptuous event. We'll take a look at some of the lavish costumes that were specially made for the occasion, the gorgeous palace rooms that provided the setting. We'll meet a couple of the guests who attended, and we'll consider the many talented artists who were employed on that evening to make the ball a success. We'll also explore the event from an historical perspective and see how, with hindsight, the ball can be viewed as a metaphor for what was happening in Russia at the time. The first night of the ball was held on the 11th of February 1903, and if you had been a guest, you would have begun the evening by gathering in the palace's Romanov Gallery, where you would have been surrounded by grand portraits of every member of the royal dynasty. You would then have slowly processed to the Nicholas Hall, a vast rectangular chamber which measures an astounding 1,103 square meters. As you looked around this magnificent hall, decorated in frosted shades of white, you might have admired the elegant neoclassical styling of the room, with its rows of arched French windows, flanked by towering Corinthian columns. If you'd cast your eyes up above you, you would have seen an enormous double-height ceiling, heavily decorated with grisaille paintings and ornamental mouldings, and hung with 11 enormous glittering crystal chandeliers that dazzled the eye with their light. Once you were inside the Nicholas Hall, you would have had to wait patiently to be presented to the Tsar and Tsarina. You would greet the royal couple by making a low, formal bow.